Armin was my favorite character. He was. And then season 4 happened. I made another video like this about Historia, and it's pretty fun. I think that was a really good video, in my personal opinion of myself, because I'm just that good. And I followed the advice in the comments, and I finally watched A Battle of Heaven and Earth. It reminded me of why I loved Attack on Titan. It's frustratingly good, out of context. If it was a standalone special episode, it's easily as good as the first 3 seasons. But that's not how stories work. There's context that you need for what happens in A Battle of Heaven and Earth. Imagine just skipping from season 3 to A Battle of Heaven and Earth. And in regards to Armin specifically, because this video is about Armin, I was actually going to make this video before I saw that special episode, and then I was like, you know, I know Armin has a pretty big role in it, and I actually do have to sit down and watch this before I make this recording. And it kind of redeemed Armin in my eyes. It made some of what I was gonna say irrelevant, but also more relevant at the same time, because out of context, A Battle of Heaven and Earth, it's peak Attack on Titan. And this is just gonna be spoilers, because it's just impossible not to spoil. He's one of the main characters involved in just about everything. There comes a point where Armin is trapped, and he's calling himself a failure. He's like, what have you been doing? You failed everyone, you failed yourself. And I was like, finally, someone said it. Out of context, that's like, you finally realized that you need to do better. But let's think about this for a second. What does Armin do in season 4? Like in season 3, Levi chooses Armin. I think it's actually said no one is expecting you to be the next commander, be the next Erwin. But at the same time, that's kind of what he was set up for. Not to be Erwin, but to at least be as great as Erwin, in his own way. But in season 4, what does Armin do? What does he do other than be a soldier of the Scouts? Let's think about this. Let's actually sit down and think about this. Armin was always portrayed to be really smart. Probably the smartest of the main characters. Asterix, right? Because Erwin is smart, but he's smart in a different way. Because after all, it was Armin who figured out that Annie was the female Titan. It was not Erwin. Like, he figured there were more Titan shifters around, but as to her identity, that was Armin. Even though in hindsight, you could look at the female Titan and be like, blue eyes, blonde hair. But at the time, I remember when I was watching, it was a shock that it was Annie. I was like, this is some other Titan, some Titan we don't know. And then it was like, this is Annie. And then it's like, whoa. If you have like read it in the community and you don't watch Attack on Titan in order, I've seen that. Yes, it's very obvious. But if you're watching it for the first time and you don't know anything going in, I really believe that it's not that obvious. I said this in the Historia video, but thinking about it again, every time I think about it, I'm like, Attack on Titan was so special. Because that suspicion on Annie, leading back to Reiner in the field when he writes Eren's location on Annie's hand, like that twist, that whole sequence is so good. Attack on Titan doesn't miss until it does. So Armin was the one, he was basically the leader of that operation. Actually, I would say the co-leader, because of course he still had to have the cooperation of the regiment and the Scouts. He was basically second in command of that operation. He helped immensely. In season 3, part 1, at the end when Eren gets captured after Bertolt falls on him, Armin was the one who made Bertolt lash out, which made it so that he was exposed, which let the Scouts be able to get in there and get past his armor. When Levi chose Armin over Erwin, I understood. I really understood, because without him, just as much as Erwin, a lot of humanity's advances wouldn't have happened, especially in the short period of time that they did happen. And also, I just remembered in Trost, was he the one to wake up Eren after Eren got Titan psychosis and collapsed, and I think punched himself in the face trying to hit Mikasa? So when Levi made the decision to revive him, I understood. I was there in the midst of the flames, because everyone was exploding when that happened, when that episode dropped, and there are still debates going on to this day about Levi's choice. As bad as it might be to say this, I think Erwin dying was a good thing, because he managed to get out unscathed when a lot of characters didn't in season 4. This is not a Battle of Heaven and Earth video. I might make one, I'm thinking about it, because there's a lot there. And in talking about a Battle of Heaven and Earth, you have to talk about the rest of the series, which I'm already doing. So Armin was never stupid, but by the end of season 4, I honestly feel like Levi made the wrong choice. Can you imagine that? Like, how hard Armin had to fall for me to go from, this is my favorite character in this entire series, to, dang, Levi should have chosen Erwin. And this is where we get into season 4. Yay! Going back to what I said about what he said about himself, what did Armin do in season 4? What did he do to set him apart from the other soldiers? What did he do that was even a little bit leader-like? So, in part 1, he nuked the port, but he didn't make that decision. I mean, he made that decision, but his hand was forced. Erwin decided to go there by himself, and if Armin didn't do that, everyone would have died in Marley and the series would have ended. He didn't have a choice. He had a choice, but he didn't have a choice, if you think about it. It's just like how Mikasa and Levi and the others didn't have a choice to go help Erwin or not. Like, they had to go to Marley and they had to assist him in his plan, whether they agreed with it or not, because he forced their hand. If they didn't help Erwin, they would have lost the Founding Titan. And that's the truth of it. If the Warhammer was actually able to eat Erwin, which she wouldn't have been because she was all hype and no substance. One of the other Titans could have done it. The Kark probably could have done it because that was before he knew how to use the Warhammer. Pika's fast enough that I think she could have done it. She could have just yanked him and left. So Armin had to do what he did. So that's a whole lot of nothing from Armin. Okay. So after that, Armin gets on the ship, you know, Sasha, and then there's a flashback to what happened in the past, and Armin he's there. He's in the flashback, I can promise you that. Is he involved in the decision-making process of the scouts? No, that's Hanji. What does he contribute to the scouts other than being a shifter? He's there, he's good with thunder spears, like everyone else. What does he do? So the flashback ends. Well, actually, Armin was gonna do something. When he got put in prison, he actually was going to do something. It seemed like it. It seems like he had a scheme in his head that he was cooking up, but then it was interrupted and nothing came of it. So in part 2, they discuss Erin's betrayal. He gets beat up by Erwin. Hanji kind of has a mental breakdown because being the leader is hard. Let's see, does he greet or make any schemes about the people from Marley that Zeke brings? I don't think Armin has a single input about what happened to Historia. Like her disappearing, her not being queen, her going to a farm and getting pregnant and not becoming a Titan, or maybe her becoming a Titan. Like, he has no opinion on any of that situation that I can remember. It's all just Eren, when there are other things going on the island. There's so many other problems that probably need Armin's brain. But no, not really. Can anyone answer what makes Armin different from any other scout other than his Titan abilities? What makes him different from Jean, from Connie? The rumbling happens. He has a freak out session with Mikasa, which, understandable, have a nice day. Like, him berating himself for his failures in the Battle of Heaven and Earth is like, what have you done to fail at? He hasn't done anything to fail or succeed at. Like, he's done a whole lot of nothing. What I really wish had happened, maybe he became a captain and when he was leading, he made a mistake. Like, it wasn't circumstances beyond his control, but directly. Like, he tried to pull in Erwin, and it didn't work because he's not Erwin. He can't be Erwin. Because in season 4, when he has his breakdown, he's like, I can't be Erwin. But, like, you didn't try. So where is this coming from? You never tried to be like Erwin. So I wish he had done something like in season 3 where he can't handle it and he has like a mini breakdown and he forces Jean to be in control. I really like that. It's an overwhelming situation, and he did try to trick Bertolt, but Bertolt was built different by then, so it didn't work. And I don't think Armin has ever had one of his plans blow up in his face like that. It was actually really good character development in my opinion. And then he did get his together eventually, and you know, he pulled off the play against Bertolt, giving Erwin enough time to crystallize. And because of Armin, they managed to catch Bertolt. Like, because of his direct contribution. It's not like Armin's hand was forced in that situation, right? He chose to lie to Erwin about what the plan was. And he chose to go in front of Bertolt, knowing that maybe because they were comrades, Bertolt would try to make it quick. Like, do you see the difference in what I'm talking about? In season 3 Armin and season 4 Armin. And there was one moment in season 4 that honestly could have redeemed him for me, and it almost did. But instead, it killed the last of my interest in him. Like, the head was cut off of my interest. It was crazy. So after the rumbling begins, and he yells at Mikasa, Connie kidnaps Falco. He could feed the kid to his mom to turn her back into a human because Erin's not doing it. Armin follows them. And I actually thought, after all of that talk about Erwin, I can't be Erwin. Everyone wants me to be Erwin, but I can't do it. I've let down all their expectations. After this talk, it seemed to be leading up, at least to me, it seemed to be leading up for Armin to finally have an Erwin moment, for him to actually do something in that situation that Erwin would do. So Connie takes the kid to his mom, but he doesn't feed Falco to her right away because he is still conflicted. It's not like he's cold. He's like, all right, let's toss the kid, and then throws him. So Armin gets there and they talk a little bit, and Armin has never been stupid. He has never been stupid before. He's never been downright stupid. He's doubted himself a lot, but he has never been stupid. Here's what I thought was going to happen. I thought that Armin, seeing Connie's mom and knowing that they need Falco alive in order to get Gabi and the rest of the Marleyans that came to the island to cooperate, just pragmatically, like objectively, even if Armin hated the kid, they needed him alive in order for the Marleyans to be willing to work with him. It's a big chain that Falco is at the center of. So Falco is objectively way more important than Connie's mom. And even knowing Connie would hate him, even knowing he would be losing one of his closest friends and that he would be sacrificing their bond, I thought Armin was going to kill Connie's mom. I thought he was going to pull an Erwin and just kill her. But Armin does the stupidest thing imaginable. It's not that I want Connie's mom to die, but like looking at it the way that Armin has always looked at things, logically, it's the best course of action. Connie can no longer feed Falco to a dead person. And it was a tense situation, like there wasn't time to think, there was only time to act. Like Erwin was willing to sacrifice anyone and everything to get closer to his goal. That episode seemed to be implying Armin would try to be Erwin. I thought he would have not been himself and tried too hard to be Erwin. And that could have been a very interesting direction for the story to take. In my opinion, there desperately needed to be conflict within the regiment, whether to or not to kill Erwin. I just have a problem that not one single person in the 104th agreed with Erwin. I mean, Parody was parachuting from the sky, carpet bombing the island. It's actually terrible. The way that Zeke gassed Ragako village and turned them all into titans, like maliciously, like without a single thought, just using them as experiments. As like they're nothing. Like there was no purpose to it. Well, it was experimenting with the gas, but like there was no care for the life in that village. There was no care for any of their lives. And you have Connie here, and everyone is just like, we need to stop Aaron. Not a single person agrees with him that maybe Marley's gotta go, especially after that. Hearing that they gassed a whole village, that's not the only village that they gassed. They gassed village after village after village just to test Zeke's abilities. And it's like, maybe Aaron has a point. Not with the entire genocide, but Marley really needed to go at one point. At one point, I was really like, Marley's gotta go. Not one of them tries to take Aaron's side. Connie, of all people, would be the one to do it, I think. But no. So what happens? I've been avoiding it, as you can see, because it's just Armin's worst moment in the series, pretty easily. Armin decides, you know what? I understand you, Connie. I'm going to feed myself to your mom. Hold on. Why is that plan A, first of all? Second of all, Armin is the colossal titan. It's so frustrating. It was so unbelievable watching that happen because it's like he just lost all his brain cells. Because what's going to happen? Even if he succeeded in feeding himself to Connie's mom, what's next? Connie's mom doesn't know how to use the colossal titan, so he's gonna go and throw himself in Connie's mom's mouth for what? And it's like, Armin, are you stupid? Armin, come on now, look me in the eyes. Are you stupid? Like, for that to be his first thought, and then for him to act on it, throwing himself into Connie's mom's mouth. Like, you're the colossal. You're probably, at this point, you're probably the most important piece on the chessboard. And you're just going to, flip the board over? It's not even like flipping the whole board over. It's like flipping your half of the board over while leaving the other half intact. What was his plan if Connie had saved him and then was like, all right, back to tossing the kid? Like, I'm not gonna let you feed yourself to my mom, but this kid is still on the table. What did you do to change my mind? Like, you're my friend, I'm not gonna let you do this for me. That's why I'm gonna take Falco and do this. What if Connie hadn't changed his mind? I understand that it made Connie, realize what he was doing, but at the same time, it's very stupid. Because Connie was never in doubt of what he was doing. He knew that he was going to feed a kid to his mom. Not being able to sacrifice one of his closest friends is not the same as being like, oh man, that means I shouldn't sacrifice this kid that I don't know that also came from Marley, which just carpet bombed our island. That's not the same thing at all. Those two things do not weigh the same weight. They don't. I don't like Armin's romance with Annie. Armin sees his crimes and Annie's crimes as weighing the same weight, and they don't. He's like, we're both killers. We both did all this stuff. You know, I nuked that port. And yes, he did nuke that port. He did kill a lot of people. But I think what really irritated me about their talk was that Armin is ignoring the reason behind it. Like, Annie did not have to do what she did. Annie yo-yoed a guy. Are we forgetting this? That wasn't because she had to. That was for fun. That was for sport. Like, Annie was cruel. She was cruel for the sake of being cruel. Like, there was no reason for it. If you look back at that with the knowledge you have now, there is no reason for her to have been so cruel. But she killed them for sport, which is not the same. It's not the same. I just really don't like it, especially because then that gives Annie the excuse. It opens the door for her to be like, oh man, we're all monsters. I'm sorry, but you know, it is what it is. Then they're like, oh, we understand. No, I don't understand. I feel like your reasons matter for the crimes, which is why I don't like Annie and Armin. I don't like it because I don't like the way it was handled by the author. It's not because like, oh, you robbed a store and I robbed the store, we're the same. No, that's not how that works. No, we are not the same. Actually, Annie could work towards forgiveness, but like not like that. Everyone forgiving her instantly is what I have a problem with. Everyone being like, oh, we're the same is what I have a problem with. And Armin is one of the biggest culprits of doing that. It's like saying that Annie is the same as Erwin because they both got people killed. The why and how and where and who were way different. But because they did same crime equals same. Let's put it like this. It's like Armin was used to absolve Annie of responsibility. Like, she still feels responsibility, but the story is telling you, hey, Annie feels bad. And Armin feels bad because they did the same things. But it's like, you're missing the context. I still don't know how to end a video, but that's really all I wanted to say on Armin. Thank you for listening, watching, reading, podcasting, coloring. Yes, all of the above. It makes sense, I promise. At the end of a battle of heaven and earth, wow. I've been speaking, believe it or not, I've been speaking English my entire life, believe it or not.